Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome into Guest Blade episode number 32. One of the rare occasions where I get a chance to do two videos in the same day, and even rarer when both of the knives in the videos came from one individual. Once again, I'd like to thank Mr. Michael Stewart. You guys may know him as Fender0942 on Instagram as well as over here on YouTube. He sent me this amazing knife along with, in case you didn't see the upload already, the incredible Randy Doucette that I just uploaded earlier today. So definitely go check that out as well. That's a really fun knife and presented quite a few surprises. What I've got here today is a Jeff VanderMeulen double homicide. An aggressive name for a very, very bold and very aggressive knife. Now, those of you that have watched my channel for a while have already seen a couple of VanderMeulens on my channel, My Barely Legal, that I uploaded probably about 3 or 4 months ago. And the very first ever Guest Blade episode, where I got two knives from the Bob, who he sent me the very first RJ Martin Q36 I had ever handled. And he had sent me the, I believe it was the intro, if I'm not mistaken. And so if you want to hear more of the background behind Jeff, definitely go watch that video where I had a chance to get more in depth on that. Just in a nutshell, Jeff is a young maker. He's only been making knives full-time as of right now for a year. He's been making knives for about 2 years, but full-time knife maker for about a year. Got some very quick popularity because people started recognizing his style and his quality right off the bat. And he learned everything that he knows for, getting started in knife making, I should say, learned from Jeremy Marsh. They're very, very close friends. I think they're next door neighbors, if I'm not mistaken. So you'll see a little bit of influences in that for the sculpted pocket clip that he does. Definitely a Marsh influence there. But he learned all of his basic skills from Jeremy, and he's taken it from there, and he's created his own unique little segment in the knife making business. So let's take a good look at this. I promised you guys something gnarly, that it was going to be a big, mean, nasty knife coming up for the next episode, and that's this. What you're about to see is one of the craziest, oversized, impractical knives that you're ever going to want. And believe me, you're going to want this knife. That is a 4.5-inch W2 steel blade with Hamone. It is insane. I can't even fit this thing in my hand. It is crazy big. It's big, it's thick, it's heavy, it's everything that she always wanted. No, it's just one of those knives that you look at it with your common sense and go, I have no practical need for a knife this big. I have no way to carry this on an everyday basis. But then that collector's side of your brain kicks in and goes, who gives a shit? This thing is rad, man. It is cool. It is really well made. And it's unlike anything else that anybody is making. Now, I had assumed the name Double Homicide came to be because of the compound grind, 2 grinds. Actually not. It's for the double choil that's built in. And that was a suggestion that one of his customers made him when he was looking at buying a different knife. He goes, oh, you should really take that and make a double choil so you can choke up on the blade. So you got a big choil here and a big choil in the blade. And between that and the fact that Jeff looked at it and thought it kind of looks like a murder weapon, the name Double Homicide was born. I had a chance to talk to Jeff for a little bit on the phone today and learned a few things. So before you guys go off and get really all crazy excited after this video and try to get your order in, his books are kind of open. And what I mean by that is he said he had planned on closing his books at the first of this year. And he ended up not doing it. But he's not really taking any custom orders. And what I mean by that is He will, if you say, I want a double homicide, or I want an intro, or I want a barely legal, he'll make it. But he's not going to be going and saying, okay, specify your bolster, specify this, specify that. You're going to be able to choose from the basic material choices that he's offering. You'll have a choice of getting either the contoured 3D clip, like you're seeing here, or a standard bent clip. And he says he really isn't even making many of those anymore, but if somebody wants it, he will. But the whole thing is, be patient. If you send him an email, it's going to take him a while to get back to you. Don't think that he's ignoring you, but he's not getting to his emails until he knows he can satisfy that customer, period. So it could be a month or two or so before you actually hear back from him. You don't have to keep emailing him over and over. He did get your email, but it's going to take him a while to get back to you. And he's currently at a 2-year wait. Now, that's a 2-year wait as of right now before this video uploads. I'm going to tell you, that is going to get much longer, much quicker than you would expect. Because one of the biggest shocks about this knife is, as this sits right here, this is $650. What? Yep. Now, the prices are likely to change. If you get on his books today, for 2 years from now, his steel costs are probably going to go up. The titanium, the basic costs are probably going to go up. So don't try and get, $650 locked in. They're going to be around the $700 range. If they go up a few extra dollars, so be it over time. But considering what you're getting here, all of the labor that's going into making this knife, I find it to be a tremendous value. That's why I'm on his books for 2 knives. And I'm coming up really soon. I reserved my position 7, 8, 9 months ago. He's going to be building me a barely legal in full Zerk, and we're going to be doing a double homicide. And I basically just told him, make it however the hell you want it. If you think it's cool, I'm going to think it's cool, and it's going to rock. So let's take a nice close-up look at this thing, man. This is incredible. I have done more in-depth discussions on Hamones in the past, but what you're seeing here, this kind of smoky vapor look that's going on here, it's not the most pronounced Hamone that he's done, and he and I discussed that. There are other blades that he's got a more pronounced Hamone on. But what's really going on here is you're basically, when you're heat treating, you're tempering the steel to different degrees in different areas. So what they're doing is they're applying a specialized clay onto the steel as it goes into the heat treat. So it doesn't need to be necessarily as hard here as it is right here. So you can get different levels of toughness and hardness, because that's a thing that, you really have to balance when you're making a knife. If you want a super, super, super hard blade, you want an increased hardness, you're going to be making it less tough, which is less, it's going to be more brittle, easier to chip, break, snap, that kind of thing. So here they're able to bring out the degrees of what they want where they want. He can get that incredible strength in the main parts of the blade here, and he can go down and change that degree down here at the cutting edge just by adding this Hamone. And also, really, the main reason people will ask for a Hamone is because it looks really cool. It has this cool, weathered, aged look, and no two blades can ever look alike. Even if they had a precise way of setting that clay on there in the exact same patterns, it's still going to come out a little bit different from blade to blade. So you've always got something unique and something different. Here is the solid titanium bolsters. He's done a great job here with this bolster covering the pivot. There's the bolster on the other side. He's using a really beautiful pattern of carbon fiber on here. Nicely contoured, nicely rounded and polished. And you'll notice all of the fine work here in that huge choil and all these finger grooves going all the way around. Every part is perfectly matched. It feels great. Everything is radius nicely. It's a comfortable knife in the hand. I love looking at the spine of this handle. Looking at the lines as it goes through. There you see your massive standoffs. See if I can get it to focus a little better. There we go. And the hidden hardware, fully contoured titanium clip. Very effective clip. It works really, really nicely. And I like the fact that there's no exposed hardware. It's a very clean look. And if you take a look at it like this, you've actually got a combination of the shape of the handle as well as the shape of the blade that's simulated in the shape of the pocket clip. Just ingenious little touches like that are really what's going to be setting him apart from the pack. His grind is really wicked, really cool. Nice, nice flat grind here. Deep, deep hollow grind here. This gets paper thin. Right about there. Really super scary thin. I have not tested the sharpness of this particular blade, but I have no doubt in my mind that this thing would split hairs. It seems to be very, very sharp. It's big. It's going to be unwieldy for a lot of people. And the more I play with it, the more I fall in love with it. The smooth action, thanks to the IKBS. Let's give you a nice close-up here. Show that it is marked. Focus, there we go. IKBS. He's not marking it on the blade, and he's gotten to the point now that on his Hamone blades, he's not going to be adding any marks. He's not denoting the blade steel on here or anything, because it makes the blade ugly when you start putting billboards all over it. All he's got is his very simple V logo, and that is it. But he still has to give credit to the IKBS, so it is right there in plain sight when you're looking inside of the handles. Take a look at the liner lock and his lockup here. Nice early, really, really early lockup. I was surprised, I got to be honest with you, when I first flipped this open. This reminds me a lot of that birch that I reviewed just a couple of weeks ago. Except actually, I think it's a little snappier, a little faster. And certainly very, very smooth. Now, in my opinion, this is pretty much in the same ballpark as far as quality. Look, I can't even fit this thing in frame as that Michael Birch was. Now, let's give you an idea just how massive and how huge this friggin' knife is. Let's take your average sized EDC, maybe even above average for a lot of guys. My Kirby Lambert here, it's a 3.75 inch blade. And when you put them butt to butt, yeah, that's a beast. That's a monster. Put up next to my Jim Burke. You guys know Jim does not make tiny knives. Next to my Dead Man Walking, it still outsizes it. And it weighs considerably more. Even though you've got a lot of carbon fiber here, that blade, that W2 steel, is so friggin' heavy. This is one of those knives that, as a collector, you kind of feel the need to own it because it's cool. I guarantee you, when you pull this out of your pocket, I mean, it's like pulling out a folding machete. When you pull it out and just show this, people are going to go, holy shit, what is that? And this cannot be mistaken for a production knife or anything that would be considered to be inexpensive in any way. And then when you do that, I mean, it's actually a little bit scary. Oh, I have had a lot of fun playing with this, I got to tell you. Michael, thank you so much for sending this out. I've wanted to get my hands on one of these for pretty much the better part of a year now. And I missed out on my one opportunity to buy one from a dealer. It sold out right before I bought it. And I'm actually glad that I didn't buy it because that was a dealer that I'm just not particularly fond of their pricing and policies. It's not a dealer I've ever referenced or talked about on the on YouTube here at all, but just not a fan of. So I'm really glad that I just had the smarts to email Jeff and go, hey, get me on your list. I don't care how long it takes, if it's a year or whatever. At that time, the wait wasn't that long. It was like, 12 months. 9 to 12 months, so it wasn't all that bad, and just getting worse and worse and worse as his name is getting out there and people are seeing what he's doing. I mean, my Barely Legal, one of the sexiest, smoothest, sweetest knives that you could get your hands on. And one of the things that we discussed when we were on the phone is he's very big on trying to make every knife better than the last. This is a better example than something that I may have held 6 months ago. I know my Barely Legal was a lot nicer than the intro that I had handled just, I don't know, 7, 8 months prior when I was doing my first guest blade. And that was a nice knife, don't get me wrong. But he's taken these great strides in getting better and better and better. And to me, that's the sign of a good knife maker, or good at any vocation. The constant feeling of, I have to be better, I have to be better. And that's really what he's exhibiting. So you've got a super stout knife, big in the hand, still the ergonomics, in my opinion, feel great. This little relief right here falls right in with the pad of your hand there. When you choke up on it, this kind of gets in the way for separation of my fingers there, but overall, I got to tell you, for such a ginormous knife, it's smooth, it's fluid, and it almost feels like it needs to be this big for that just badassery that it's exuding. I can't stop staring at it. I'm actually sitting here right now kind of, leaning off camera a little bit because I can't stop looking at this damn thing. The only downside to having a blade like this is it's going to require a little bit more upkeep. You guys know that I'm a big fan of the Aegis EDC Knife Care Solutions. I swear by that stuff. This will get a coat on it. I gave it a coat when it first arrived. Because Michael, being the smart guy that he is, he goes, I'm going to keep this thing covered in oil and I don't have to worry about it rusting, pitting, corroding. That certainly wouldn't look very good on camera. And for carrying it, it's just going to attract a whole bunch of crud onto your blade. So I called him up. I said, listen, I wiped all that gunk off of there. I said, I understand why you're doing it and it's smart that you're protecting your investment. But I'm going to throw some sprays of EDC on there and I'll do it again before I send it back because, I've been touching the blade and all that. And, hey, I'm in South Florida. It's, humid and we have salt in the air. So I just want to make sure I'm taking as good a care of it as I can. And so he's going to order some of that stuff. That's what I would suggest. Tough cloth, anything like that. Anytime you get into these high carbon blades, you definitely want to do that. Definitely take good care of it. You take care of your tools and they'll take care of you. Let's give a nice look here. I love the cleanliness of this little area right here where everything comes together, the titanium bolsters, the titanium liners, and that steel blade. It's just smooth and sexy. And the knife really does have sexy lines all the way around. Yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's a monster. But it's so damn sexy. I mean, seriously. Just look at that. Massive standoffs. So if you've ever considered getting into one of Jeff's knives and you didn't know that I had videos already, go back and check out the other two. You'll have to do a little bit of searching to get through the listings. I didn't realize, but I've got a whole shitload of videos now. And really take a look at the different designs that he does. The intro, the mini intro, the Barely Legal, double Homicide. I may be forgetting one in there somewhere. Everything is, it's different. Everything is unique and they're made to work. And the great thing is they're affordable. And relatively affordable, let's say that. There are still guys that if you spent more than $50 on a knife and they comment on my channel all the time, oh, I can't believe you'd spend over $200 on a knife. I got a $40 Spyderco that works just as good as your old $1,000 knife. Dude, I have a $30 Spyderco that I friggin' love. Still have my Tenacious. Don't compare them. You can't compare them. But for what you're getting in a full-blown, true, real-to-life custom knife, not a mid-tech, a true-to-life custom knife to spend $650, $700 on something that is obviously hugely labor-intensive and so clean and so well done. This inlay feels great. It's not completely seamless. You can run your fingers across it and feel that there is a separation of materials, but it's not like there's a jump. You can even take a look here. Let's get it to focus really, really well. It's not like there's a big, huge jump or anything there. To get this level of craftsmanship, with a beautiful Hamone blade, a complex grind that's that wicked looking and that effective, at that $650 to $700 price range, yes, I call it a good value. An incredible value. I mean, I've got a hell of a lot more money invested in my Jim Burke. Compound grind, a lot of cool stuff that he did here. This is a tremendous amount of money more expensive than this. The Lambert that I brought out earlier, that costs a lot more money than this. Now, I'm not going to compare these because they're such radically different kinds of knives. But it is in that league of being a true, full, custom-made knife. And he's done something special. You're never going to see another knife that looks like a double Homicide. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up with that. I think I am mostly caught up on my videos. I think soon it's time for maybe a ramble video or maybe go back to the knives and wine videos. I got a few things I want to get off my chest, maybe. We'll have to see about that. So until next time, guys, I will see you. Thank you for watching as always and subscribing and liking and commenting. I love to hear the feedback from you guys. It's always appreciated.